afternoon, everybody, and I welcome everybody for today's seminar on importance of power quality. Um, and I request that the next 1 hour, let's talk about power quality, something that people have been ignoring for a long time. So um, let me begin by saying that Messung has been in automation since 1981, and we have installed PLCs and programmable logic controllers in thousands of machines. And every time we used to install the PLC, we used to go to manufacturing companies, people making machine tools, plastic injection machines, packaging machines, textile machines, you name it, those type of machines. In 1981, the amount of electronics used in the machines were very less. The quality of the power was very poor, and somehow we got used to working in bad power or in unclean power. Now that I have started involving Messung into energy and energy management, one of the important things that I want to inform to the audience is that the government, in its venture of becoming an industrial hub of international quality, I will just mute all so that I can get everybody's attention. So I will continue. So the thing is that everybody thought that खराब power तो ये आने ही वाला है. The utility, that is the electricity board, is going to give us bad power. We have to work with bad power. Then people started saying, what I found out is that ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स खराब हो जाते थे तो ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स को रिवाइंड करते थे, इंडक्शन मोटर्स खराब हो गए तो इंडक्शन मोटर्स को रिवाइंड करते थे, बेरिंग्स खराब हुए तो जब तक वो मोटर जल के खाक नहीं हो जाते थे टू रन द मोटर, with the result that not only we used to not get good power, but we were not, the manufacturing industry was not very attentive to utilizing the power properly. Now in the last few years, due to the strong implementation of Atmanirbhar Bharat and to make our country as a manufacturing hub of the world, the quality of power as being supplied by the utilities has improved greatly. The quality of power is extremely good. And the government is putting stringent guidelines to see that the utilities provide good quality power to industries and later on to the residential premises. Now the onus is on the manufacturing company to see that they use the power properly, that they see that they understand what is meant by good quality power. So today's seminar is one of 12 seminars that we are planning in the coming weeks, in which we will be taking power, and power as in the high tension power and the low tension power that you use in manufacturing. So we'll be focusing mainly on manufacturing, though I understand that there are different people who are in this audience today. Some are coming from the home automation side, some are coming from the building automation side, some are coming from the maintenance side, and some are coming from the system integration side. Now today's seminar, the first section of this seminar will be focusing mainly on how do you define good quality power. I just want to say that we are now used to using good quality water. We are understanding what is meant by good quality air, environment, hawa, acha hawa. Usi tarah se we should be very conscious what is meant by good quality power. We as people from the electrical electronic industry should see that our customers, our internal customers, the machines that our various shops are using, the CNC machines, the painting line, the welding line, the expensive inspection equipment is getting good quality power. So at one side, the utilities are increasing the quality of the power. You as a user have to see that you also use the power properly. And there is one important thing you must remember, that it is not only the utilities which provide the harmonics and the variations in the power supply and the transit. You yourself in your own manufacturing environment create electrical disturbances. You spoil your own power. And if you use proper equipment to measure the quality of the power at the appropriate places in your factory, you'll find that you have an ECG of your factory as to how your power is being used or mutilated by your own machines. So today's second session will be by Krishna Dhanorkar, where he will show you how Janitza products can be used very effectively to measure power quality. one of the important things that government is going to implement in 2023, April 2023, is a strong, stringent penalty and a scheme of penalizing people who don't use power properly. And the standard that is going to be used is IEEE 519. Now, IEEE 519 will be one of the sessions that we will be taking in the coming future. We have done a lot of work on IEEE 519, and Mr. Hari Balasubramaniam, who's from the Janitza side, has provided us enough information and literature to guide each one of you how IEEE 519 is. Now, IEEE 519, quality of the power, how to see that you know what power quality is, and how to see that you provide solutions to solve the problem. So in the next 12 sessions, next 12 Saturdays, we'll be covering not only what is power quality, how to measure quality of power, what is power quality, also IEEE 519, then how tariffs are being given by the utility, understanding how to read tariffs. Everything has to be understood by the people who are interested in energy management. तब जो एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट की बात करते हैं ना, तो क्वालिटी ऑफ पावर से शुरू होता है. तो आज का सेशन हम इधर से शुरू करेंगे, एंड आई नाउ रिक्वेस्ट कृष्णा एंड श्रावणी to start their session. And let me just advise you that the session that we do is going to be a little basic. We're going to start from many things taught in college, but slowly we'll move to the higher aspects of power quality. And by the end of the session, I'm sure all of you will be in a better position to understand what is good quality power. And I also would like to invite all the people who have joined when I was speaking. I welcome you today for the seminar, and I request now Shravani to please take over and Krishna to please take over. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to all. As today's session is mainly for the understanding power quality and its importance. We will just briefly introduce our about Mason systems. As you all know, Mason, it's his journey from 1981. Now it's our 40th innovation year celebrating. We are celebrating 40th anniversary ourselves. And you know the Mason itself. Mason started its journey from 1981, and they have started first indigenous PLC. And now Mason has its various branches as such, or in sectors as such. First is in automation and control. Second one is workplace technology, and third one is ours, that is electrical engineering. In electrical engineering, we are in Janitza power quality analyzer and Warner systems. Now, I will not take much of your times and directly start this presentation. I will hand over to Ms. Shravani to continue.
Hello everyone, I am Shravani Deshpande. I welcome you all on the webinar of Understanding Power Quality. And thank you for being here today and sparing your time for us. I hope you will enjoy today's session. So before starting the session, I would like to give brief introduction about what we are going to cover today. So today, what we will do is, we will go through some basics of what power quality is all about. Then we will talk about power quality monitoring, and we will show you how easy it is to analyze your power quality data, so that you have the information you need that is required to take actions on power quality events appearing in your facility or the distribution. Our focus today will also be on Janitza power quality meters, and what we will show you is the ability of Janitza UMG meters to capture power quality events. And we will give you some examples on power quality analysis tools such as Janitza apps, Janitza Gridwiz software, and homepage of the device, which will help you for better understanding on reporting of power quality data gathered by your meters. Now, let's start the session with very basics of electricity. As we all know that for every individual or for every vehicle to work, some form of energy is required. Similarly, for every electrical equipment, an electricity is required to work in its intended manner. As we could see in this image, there are three important parameters related to electricity, which are voltage, which is driving force for the current, whose unit is in volts, then current, whose unit is in amperes, and it is nothing but rate of flow of charge, and the ohm is the unit of the impedance, which is inherent property of the circuit to oppose the flow of electricity. Then there are some of the peculiarities of electricity, which are it requires continuous flow and we cannot store it conveniently in a quantity. Then the third important parameter regarding electricity is electric power. We all are aware of this basic definition of electric power, which is the rate at which work is done. So for AC circuits, the formula for power is product of voltage, current, and cos phi, where voltage is one which we get from utilities, current is drawn by our equipments, and cos phi, which is power factor, it is the cosine of angle between voltage and current. For DC circuits, power is simply the product of voltage and current. Now, once this rated electrical power is applied to equipments and energy over a certain period of time, and energy gets consumed by that equipment. So it is simply the product of power and time. As we know that every equipment is designed to work on certain rated conditions, and these conditions are mentioned on the nameplate of that equipment. So I have taken one template, which is a nameplate of the equipment, where the rated conditions such as power, voltage, current, and frequency are mentioned. Now let's see the graphical representation of these electrical quantities. As we all know that voltage and current are sine functions with time. Now, a perfect grid would be one in which applied voltage is purely sinusoidal and current drawn by the equipment is also purely sinusoidal. But as we know that this is ideal case. In practice, even though the voltage applied is perfectly sinusoidal, the current drawn by equipment may not be sinusoidal and it can be distorted like this one. There are various reasons for this distortion in the waveform, and it has its own consequences, which we are going to cover in further slides. Now let's see what is power quality and why you should care. Firstly, let's talk about recent market trends that we are facing today. As we know that electronic equipments and controls are increasing and becoming more and more popular. And it is something which is needed because we need additional control and energy efficiency. And we need it for today and even more in the future. But on the other hand, when we introduce new technologies to our facilities or our distribution, this might affect the working of some equipments, and this can be related to power quality. As the definition of power quality says, it is the concept of powering and grounding sensitive equipment in a manner that is suitable to the operation of that equipment. The simple meaning of this definition is, if your equipment doesn't work properly based on electricity it receives, this might be termed as a power quality problem. So, all in all, we can conclude that we have high dependence on reliability of electrical systems. Reliability of electrical systems. And there are some facilities which work for 24/7, and for them the cost of downtimes and cost and loss of use might be very high. So the another influence is modern grid today is changing due to solar and wind sources are becoming more and more popular, and also the electrical vehicles in some of the areas. So all these things provide challenge for reliability and quality of our supply. Now there are many consequences of not addressing these power quality issues. Some of them are failure of power due to circuit breaker tripping or overheating of the equipment, which leads to reduced efficiencies and reduced lifespan. Then some of the major consequences would be breakdown or unwanted downtimes or complete loss of use. Then as we know that poor power quality causes waste of energy, and factors such as harmonics or low power factor or unbalance are the cost drivers, and they will cause loss of money. So all in all, and therefore it is important to choose the right instrument and right tools in order to address these issues. And for this, you are looking to analyze the data gathered by your equipments. Now, you must be thinking that what is good power quality and what is bad power quality. The answer for this would be it is completely dependent on type of application or type of equipment you are using. That is, what is good power quality for one may not be good for other type of equipment. There are some equipments which are very sensitive for this poor power quality. For example, it can be related to safety issue if we imagine a hospital where patient's care is a big concern, or it can be something where running operations are very high, such as in case of data centers or a bank, or it can even be a production process in an industry such as semiconductor industry or a pharmaceutical industry where continuous process is going on, and if a failure occur it can become catastrophic. So it is important to have the power quality standards. These power quality standards have defined some limits on power quality parameters. So by complying to these standards or these limits, you will assure the reliability and continuity of your supply. So these are the most commonly used standards. The EN 50160 is mainly regarding the voltage quality in electric supply networks. Then this is IEEE 519 standard, which is related to the harmonics. As Farooq sir has mentioned in the introduction that in year 2020, utility is going to take penalties on the on non-maintaining the power quality.
Shravan is 2023.
Okay, sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, it's 2023. Yes. So sir has also mentioned that we are going to conduct a separate webinar on IEEE 519 in coming sessions. Now the next important standard is IEC 61000-4-30. This is regarding the test equipments and meters, which defines the measurement methods in order to produce reproducible and reliable results. So all in all, we have understood that it is important to measure power quality in order to keep everything running smoothly and efficiently. And to do so, what you are looking at is analyzing the data gathered by your meters. Now let's see what are the different types of power quality phenomena. When we are talking about power quality, it is something that is not associated with units or quantities such as amperes or volts, but it is something which is associated with the characteristics. So some of those characteristics are harmonics, transients, voltage unbalance, reactive power, flicker, and voltage variations. We will go quickly through each one of them in upcoming slides. So the first one is harmonics. Harmonics are integer multiples of fundamental frequencies. And these frequencies will change the sinusoidal nature of the waveform to the distorted waveform. The main cause for this harmonics is non-linear loads. Now, what is non-linear load? A non-linear load is a one in which current drawn by the load is not in proportion with the applied voltage. It means it might draw current at certain intervals even though the continuous voltage is applied to them. The consequences of harmonics includes it causes overheating of the equipment, and due to overheating, it causes reduced efficiencies and reduced lifespan of certain equipment such as transformers or motors. Then the another important consequence is skin effect. Skin effect in case of cables causes insulation degradation. And due to insulation degradation, the life of that cable reduces. Let's say if a cable is supposed to work for 10 years and due to this insulation degradation, it might end up in, let's say, 7 years. So it is again a loss that you will have to pay for. Then the another aspect regarding harmonics is that your loads, that is non-linear loads, will generate current harmonics, and this will put back in your own facility and then to the utility grids. And at there, they will cause the distortion in the waveform, that is voltage harmonics. So if in your facility you are generating harmonics, then you will end up in a situation where you will have to pay for it because utility companies will charge for having this poor power quality. Now, you must be thinking that how would I know that whether my facility is generating harmonics or not, or whether I am complying to IEEE 519 standard limits or not. So the answer for this would be continuous monitoring. By monitoring your facility continuously, you would be able to identify the sources of harmonics within your facility. Then the next parameter of power quality is sags and swell. As you could see in the image that these are the voltage variations. And these are caused mainly due to turning on or off of large loads. When you turn on large loads, it draws heavy current, and due to that, the voltage decreases below 0.9 percentile unit for a duration less than 1 minute. If the duration is less than 1 minute, it is termed as a sag, and if the duration is greater than 1 minute, it can be termed as a under voltage. Similarly, when a heavy load is turned off, it occurs a swell, which is increase in voltage magnitude greater than 1.1 percentile unit for a duration less than 1 minute. And if the duration is greater than 1 minute, then it is termed as a over voltage. Now, the major consequences of these sags and swells are it can cause damage to the equipment. It can cause stripping of circuit breakers, mainly due to sags. It can cause insulation damage, mainly due to swells. Now, let's take an example of a facility which is running a heavy loads, and they are having a problem that their circuit breaker is tripping at every day at a particular instant of time. So the solution for in order to find out solution for this, they will have to monitor their system continuously, so that they would come to know the complete load cycle of their facility. And based on the priority of the loads, they can shift the switching of loads so that the problem of that tripping the circuit breakers can be avoided. So it is important to have continuous monitoring. Then the next point is transients. Before understanding transients, let's try to think, or let me ask you a question that, have you ever come across a situation where your running machine has stopped suddenly, or ICs on PCB started burning suddenly? If yes, means if you have faced such situations, then one of the reasons might be transients. transient is something which happens very fast. As we could see in the image, it can happen within very small duration of time, such as within microseconds or within millisecond range. It can be of single polarity called as impulsive transients, and it can be of dual polarity or it can be bipolar called as oscillatory transients. So the reasons for these transients are atmospheric conditions such as lightning, or switching of equipment such as capacitor switchings, or it can be due to loading or unloading of inductive equipment such as motors or transformers. Now, the consequences of transients include it can damage the equipment, or it can cause breakdown of the insulation. Though the breakdown of insulation is not a sudden cause, a sudden consequence, but it might happen for after a certain duration of time due to continuous hitting of these transients. Then as I said, that this transients comes means this transient occurs within very short duration of time. So in order to capture these transients, you need to have continuous monitoring of your system. Then and also you have to use the meter which is having high sampling frequency, so that you would be able to capture those transients. Then the next is unbalance. As we could see in the image that there is inequality between voltage magnitudes. So as we know that in balanced supply, all the phase voltages are of equal magnitude and phase displaced from each other by 120 degree. Even if one of the condition is not fulfilled, then it can cause unbalance in the system. And it is a thumb rule that even 1% of voltage unbalance can cause 5 to 10% of the current unbalance. So, and we know that as current increases, it will cause overheating of the equipment, and it will have its own consequences. So, the reasons for this unbalance could be the unequal distribution of loads on all the three phases of supply, or it can be due to large number of single phase loads. Then when you monitor your system, and if you come to know that you have unbalance in your system, then you can redistribute your system and you can avoid the further consequences. Then the next is flicker. You might have seen that your lighting system, you might have seen that flickering in your light or brightness of light going up and down. This is caused due to voltage variations in the supply. These voltage variations or this flicker causes circuit breaker tripping, and it also causes health issues such as headaches, migraines, or even epileptic shocks in some people, as our human eye is very sensitive to these variations. This can cause due to load variations such as due to furnaces, welding machines, or generators, or it can even be due to faulty LED drivers. As we all know that LED lightings are becoming more and more popular, and we are replacing our old systems with LED lighting systems, but the faulty driver can also cause the flickering of light. Then we have one standard called IEC 61000-4-50, which defines flicker, and it also defines the artificial units such as PST, which is short time flicker, and PLT, which is long time flicker. So a benefit of measuring is we can find out which equipment in electrical distribution is causing a flicker. Now Farooq sir has Mr. Farooq sir want to share some points on this flicker, so I would request Farooq sir to share his thoughts.
Shravani, the main thing causing of the flicker is that because people are using LED lights with very poor quality drivers and not using proper low pass filters, high voltage EMI EMC interference superimposes over the driver lines, and this is picked up by these very sensitive LEDs, and LED lamps can detect these small flicker. Now this is not visible by the human eye, but when you normally hold a camera of your phone towards the light, you will see that the light flicker is being seen, and this can cause a lot of headache in, say, hospital patients are sleeping and they're having tube lights, not tube lights, LED tube lights which are flickering, or when you are in a conference room and the lights are not proper, within 2-3 hours people will get very tired. And these are very subtle flickers due to the high frequency superimposition of EMI EMC on the supply lines. Normally in airports, if there's a flicker, you'll find that in some airports you get tired very quickly. The main thing is that these LED lights should be of good quality. They should have built-in low-pass filters which remove these high-frequency interferences. And this EMI EMC can be even up to 1 megahertz or 500 kilohertz or something. And it only our UMG 512 or the 605 has the ability to measure the flicker. So there are very few energy meters which can measure the flicker. And this flicker basically is not going to create much damage. It's going to create more human damage, headaches and things like that. Especially we have somebody, Rotin Banerjee from Taj in our today's audience. In large conference rooms, in large banquet halls, these lights, if there's a flicker, it cannot be seen by the eyes, but it will give a lot of headache to people after they get out of the room. Okay, Shravani, please continue.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful information. Then the next thing is residual current monitoring. This is the another aspect of power quality monitoring, which is fault power quality, which is a fault current monitoring, which is not generally given a much importance. But residual current monitoring plays very important role in facilities having high availability on power supply systems, such as in data centers or in hospitals. The continuous monitoring and early warnings can enable the rapid and direct identification of faults or insulation damages. Then it not only avoids the fire risk, but it also improves the availability of your system, and therefore it helps to reduce the costly downtimes in your system. Then as we could see here, that preventive maintenance is high productivity and uptime. Now, how these residual currents are measured? As you could see in the image is that the RYB phases, that is L1, L2, L3 and neutral, are connected together through a summation CT. Means a summation CT is put on all the 4 phases, and one CT is put on earth terminal, earth conductor, and so both these CTs are in milliampere rating. So when the result of this CT is not equal to 0, means if it is greater than 0, then we could conclude that we have fault in our system. And if this result is 0, then we could conclude that our system is fault free. As sir mentioned rightly, that this facility also, means residual current monitoring, is also in very few equipments, and our Genitza equipments have this facility for monitoring residual currents, which will avoid short circuits and which will help you to identify the insulation faults much ahead of time or before causing damage in your system.
Shravani, 1 minute, just go behind. I would like to tell the people who are there in the audience today that if you ever hear of an electrical fire or ever hear that ye building jal gayi and because of electrical short circuiting, it is because of residual current. Had that establishment used RCM meters and got an anticipation of the RCMs, and the residual current can happen in any part of the factory. It is not necessary that you will measure the residual current at the PCC level. It may happen at a shop level. It may even happen at a machine level, or it may happen at a junction box level. And this is many times due to faulty wiring, due to loose connections, sparking in the contacts and things like that. We have enough information and videos available. In our coming session, we will be going a little more detail in RCM, because if you're looking at safety electrical safety as important for your organization, especially in hospitals, hotels, hospitality, or in prestigious places like data centers, then residual current measurement, which is ignored by everybody, should be taken a due course, and proper metering equipment should be used. Okay, Shravani, please continue.
Yes. So up till now, we have seen so many power quality disturbances, their causes and their consequences. Now, how would you know that? Which power quality disturbances are occurring in your facility? So the answer is power quality monitoring. Power quality monitoring is the process of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting raw measurement data into useful information. So, as and this power quality monitoring includes metering, monitoring, and on-site measurements. As you could see in the image that we have some meters for permanent monitoring. This is one of them, and we have this MRG Flex for on-site measurements. That is for power quality audits. And then it also includes documenting and trending the system performance to increase the system reliability. This documenting refers to the generating the reports complying to power quality standards, which I have discussed in previous slides. Now let's see what are the benefits of power quality monitoring. As power quality monitoring will help you to avoid overload conditions in your system, or it would avoid the production stoppages. It would maximize the operation time of your equipments as their efficiency increases. Also, it will optimize the maintenance cost in your facility. Now, once we have understood the benefits of power quality monitoring and what power quality monitoring is, the next question is, how should I monitor my power quality, or at what locations should I monitor my power quality? The answers for this would be given by our sales executive, Mr. Krishna Dhanorkar. So now I hand over this presentation to Mr. Krishna Dhanorkar, and he will be giving you a quick review of Genetza power quality products. Over to you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you, Shravani. As we have heard in detail about the power quality disturbances, now the obvious question is how to monitor it and how to identify it. Just like said, it is power quality analyzer is just like a pathology lab. It can identify what kind of problem that you are having. Like in pathology lab, we can get whether you have, according to your blood test, you can get whether you go for X-ray or CT scan or MRI. Like that, by using power quality analyzer, you have to choose which problem you have and what mitigation you can choose for your system as such, whether you go for AHF, whether you go for UPS, like this. So we have heard in detail. Now, as Mr. Lord Kelvin always said that if you can measure it, then you can monitor it. Accordingly, Genetza has the same principle. Just I will briefly introduce about Genetza. Genetza is a German company.
Continue.
Yeah. As Mr. Farooq Merchant, our director, has a long vision and long cherishment that he wanted to work in an energy management system, that he forecast that today's world is for the energy management and energy saving as such, because there is a lot of energy wastage is there. There is a lot of power quality issues is there. That's why he foresighted that we have to work for, in India, we have to work for power quality issues and energy management system. That's why he have a tie-up with German company Genetza in 2020. I will just briefly introduce about the Genetza. It is a German company and it has a headquarters in Frankfurt, and it is almost 60 years old company, and it is basically mainly in metering only. So one can say it knows in and out about the metering and power quality issue and energy management system as such. They have almost presence in almost 10 countries, and they have reached almost 75 countries this product. They have covered various sectors as such: manufacturing, data centers, utilities, then hospitals, IT. These are various sectors where Janitza meters are already present, and there are numerous customers are present all over the world. These meters are how the process is that one system of Janitza is having a 3 benefits, like energy management system as per ISO 50001, then power quality according to EN 50160, and residual current monitoring. Then how we can do it? These are the various meters. These are various levels that you can see where these power quality meters can be connected. First, that is the PCC, that is a point of common coupling, where the incoming power is coming to any premises or any company. There you can connect these meters, that is UMG 512. Then the main distribution system, then the sub distribution system, then the machine building centers, and the sub measurement, that is the load centers, where actual the consumption is there. There you can connect these meters. Then you can see why there are so many meters in portfolio as such. Because every meter, not a single meter, you cannot connect at every place. We need different meters at different places. Because we have, you can see the portfolio of devices of Janitza is vast. You can see on the left side, I will just show you. These meters are without display meters. We have without display, without memory, with memory. We have interfaces like Ethernet, without Ethernet. Then the RS485 connection, without RS485 connections. And these 8 meters are like our basic meters as such. And basic meter starts with RS, that's UMG 96S2. UMG means universal measurement gauges. Then these meters are where I showing the cursor. These meters are for the specifically for the data center as such. These 2 meters, UMG 801 and UMG 804. That's the branch circuit monitoring, where you can connect, give a supply of one single voltage, and you can connect different current channels, 96 current channels using these meters. These below you can see the residual current monitoring meters. Specifically, we have designed for the residual current monitoring. And these right side we can show the Janitza's Pro devices, that is the power quality meters devices. These meters are divided in 2 types, that is DIN-rail mounted and panel mounted. That UMG 512 is considered as a class A according to IEC 61000-4-30. Now, here is the question, that is why if the customers have getting so much of exorbitant bills. The reason is, as you know, in 2020 April, Maharashtra has started KVH billing, and very few customers knows that their bills have is going to increase, and they got the exorbitant bills. The reason may be KVH billing, the harmonics problems, and whatnot. And this, like this, in 2013, as Sir said, in Maharashtra, MERC, the Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission, is going to implement a standard like IEEE 519. In that, I will just show you a simple way. If any customer is having a 10 lakh and he gets a penalty or any notice from MSEB or any utility company like Adani or Torrent Power, that you have to get a penalty of 5%. Then approximately the monthly charges or monthly penalty is around 50,000 to 75,000 for the customer. Also, CEA, that is Central Electricity Authority, has already said that you have to put for the continuous monitoring at your PCC level, you have to put a Class A analyzer. That is mandatory from them for those customers having 11 kV and above users. So this is a main reason why we are promoting this UMG 512. This is a this is a product, like it is a class A product according to IEC 61004-30 as per addition 3 in 2015, that it qualify as a class A analyzer, and we are expecting customers should take a benefit of this product. It is not something that we are telling that something wrong information, but it is a mandatory information that going to implement by Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission, also by CEA, that you should have the class A meter at your PCC. Recently in Mumbai itself, Adani Electricity has asked goes for the tender for almost 125 meters in their substations. The reason is simple. Why the electricity board or utility is going for the class A meter? That they just want to know what kind of power quality they are supplying to the customers. And if there is no any problem from the utility side, then if the grid is getting distorted, then naturally the problem is from the customer side, that they are distorting the grid of MECB or any private utility, and obviously the utility is getting suffered because of your power problems. There is a harmonics problem, and this reason the more problem is because of the I square or losses. The losses get increased. The power factor losses is power factor because of low power factor. The power factor problem is more. Also, the conductor size of the whatever the transmission of a utility, that is have to increase. Also, simultaneously the transformer size also need to be increased. So it is a problem to the utility. That's why they are implementing this class A analyzer and asking customers to go for these meters in their premises, so that they can check, they can verify whether you are giving any good, whether they are giving a good power, and also whether customer is not distorting the power of grid. That is the main reason. This 512 meter has so much of benefits or so much of features, like it has a active energy class of 0.2s and voltage accuracy of 0.1 and 0.1. Also, they have a special features like a JESIC PLC programming, that you can have a program yourself in the meter of 7 types of program. Also, you can have a memory of 256 MB. Also, digital inputs and 2 digital inputs and 2 digital output that is provided in the UMG 512. Like this, you can record almost 2,000 parameters like active power, reactive power, harmonic active TDD, THD, then the voltage. These are different parameters that you can record almost for a 6 months time in UMG 512. Now I would like to show you what is the Genizza software. Now, in any customer, I have visited few customers. The obvious reason is that why to go for any power quality meter. The reason is simple, that they are just telling, I am observing active power, reactive power, just by they have appointed one engineer and he manually goes in a factory, take a reading of active power, reactive power, and just take it in Excel and show it to their management. But it is not helpful as such. You can see in Genizza software, there are so many features are available. Like you can see, these are some of the bar graphs that you can see how your energy consumption is there. Load trending is very obvious in this trend in bar graph. You can check the monthly bar graph. You can see the daily graph. You can easily compare where you are consuming your energy, where you are wasting your energy. Accordingly, you can check the monthly, you can check the your yearly consumption. So you can easily identify where you are consuming more, in which month the load is more, in which month the energy charges are more. So accordingly, you can understand and you can prove that management why the power quality meter or why this Genizza meter is useful for them. Like this, you can see there are some of the meters like the graphs that you can see, that live voltage graph is always there, that where in which line the maximum voltage is there, which line has maximum current is there, that easily you can show to you can see. Also, this RCM, what we have discussed right now, this RCM has a feature like in which phase is having a problem. That is, the indicator is given here, that which phase are problematic, that easily it can show that a red signal shows that it is crossing the sum of the limits in L1 or L2 or L3. Also, I can just like to show you some of the reporting as per the EN 50160. The standard that is very much important for any manufacturing company. Here you can see which parameter is having more problem or which parameter is having crossed or passed or failed. You can set the limits as per the standard and you can find it out whether you are passing or not. These are the standards you can get in a weekly manner. So you can easily find it out and easily you can show to any your utility person that I am following this particular standard, and obviously I am passing this standard in a very good manner. Like this, there are some of the advanced power quality problems is there that you can show that this is how the in various tests, that is THD, TDD, whether you are passing it or not, that you can see it in a report. If you are failing, then obviously it will directly show it to you. Like that, also there is a Sankey diagram that, like, suppose whatever the incoming power that in a factory you are getting, so which plant or which machine is consuming how much of power, that you can easily able to see it by just putting this software, Gridwiz software, and you can find it out how you are using your energy in which plant, with which machine or which building. So this kind of graphs you can easily get in a Gridwiz software. So I will go to PPT. So like this, we have some small app like a mini ENMS app available with us. If you don't want to go for the Gridwiz software, I said this is a small app that is available in Genizza basket, that you can put a small one UMG, that is a pro devices, UMG 512 or 509 or 604 or 605, and connect a small meter, like a small basket of meters of Genizza, and connect it through Ethernet to this, and it will these device will act as a gateway, and you can easily find it out what kind of energy management, that whatever the graphs or the data that is available in your factory, that you can easily able to get it using these apps. So if you have any questions, we are ready to answer you, sir.
I would like to mention regarding the mini EMS. Go one slide behind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Example of this, Krishna, as I give everybody, is that suppose you have a big automobile plant, say the one like Volkswagen or Maruti Suzuki and all. Usually they have a very big SCADA for the whole factory, like a factory talk or something like that, for monitoring the power consumption of the entire factory. But suppose the heat treatment shop, the general manager or the manager of the heat treatment shop wants to know how I am consuming the power, then he can just buy one 509 or a 604 meter with a app, like just like you can download an app in a mobile phone. These smart power quality meters allow you to download apps, and using these apps and using your regular laptop and using small meters like your 96S, the basic simple meters at various machines, say in a heat treatment plant, there are some 7, 8 machines. He can put small meters on each of the machines. On the incoming, he can put the 604 or 605, which is not very expensive, buy the app, and then he can on his laptop have a small EMS to find out that how he is consuming the power that is coming to the heat treatment. Is any of his machine consuming more power than usual? Is any machine creating more reactive power? Is there any harmonics in his grid and in the mini grid that is in the heat treatment plant? And this can be done by anybody. It can be done in the inspection workshop. It can be done in the, say, the printing line in a newspaper, or any area where a large amount of energy is being used locally in a particular shop or in a workshop. So the mini EMS is like creating a energy management system in a small location with very little cost. And I think this is a very useful application. I strongly recommend it for those managers who are unable to get the information from the big SCADA that the factory has used. Okay, Krishna. So this is the way I would put it.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, please, we are open for it, sir. Or
any questions?
These details are with you also.
This fellow Krishna.
Yes, sir.
Many people who have left their phone numbers and email IDs on the chat box. They want us to share the PPT and the recording of today's session.
Okay.
And, I also have mentioned in the chat box that we are going to have 12 such sessions. Today is the first session, so 11 more sessions covering energy management in all its aspects. So people have asked us, especially Mr. Vishwanath Joshi has asked us whether we can give the details of all the 11 sessions that are going to take place.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So these are the two things, and if any of the people want to get direct information of the PPT and this, please put your email ID and phone number in the chat box.
Also, our forthcoming next seminar will be for the completely on the tariff, how the KVH billing, how it is affecting the customers, and the next session will be on the IEEE 519, how it is implemented in Maharashtra. Also, it is already implemented in Tamil Nadu. So we are enlightening other customers and giving some insight about the IEEE 519. So stay tuned with us. So we have so many sessions as such. And one of session that is conducted today.
You can unshare your screen, Krishna.
Yes, sir.
So guests for today, I hope today's session was entertaining, and I hope it was knowledgeable to all of you. I think Mandar Naravne has put in a question. Should include frequency measurement also. Of course, 100%, Mandar, this is something without saying. It's not only measuring your primary frequency, it's measuring your harmonics also. As you know, electrical language, harmonics is 50 Hertz, 100 Hertz is the second harmonic, 150 is third harmonic, right up to the 63rd harmonic, we can measure the energy. Okay, so the Kiran Banalikar, KUB, is written that is there a measurement device like an instrument for Janitza for measuring? Of course, KUB, that's what we are talking. The whole UMG series of Janitza is for measuring the power quality, and the expensive devices measure many more things in the power quality, which we'll be taking in the next session. We'll be talking of the most expensive device, that is the UMG 512, which is the main primary device that we are talking of. And we can also talk about the smaller device. And what I think Krishna spoke, and which probably may not have been understood by many people, is that These meters also come with Profibus interface, Profinet interface, I think so, Modbus interface, and Ethernet interface. So a lot of networking can be done with these meters, and you can connect these meters anywhere in the factory. And you
Okay,
can
like a multimeter, I meant, like equipment or multimeter.
see, this is not a portable equipment. This is
Okay, that is what I meant.
no, this is a fixed equipment.
Okay. I
So
thought
there are
that in their
other-
series they have.
Yeah, so Fluke has the portable
I
meters.
understand.
Yeah. But we are giving fixed meters because we
Yeah,
are
I
giving
understand.
a lot of facilities in that. And besides the GridWiz, the apps will be one session that we'll take. The standards is one thing which people have to understand. And, you know, people have been taking power quality very lightly. Nobody reads standards. Nobody reads C. So we'll be making our effort to bring all this knowledge to you on the table and answer your questions. And in the process, also learn from ourselves. And when some difficult questions come, then we have Hari Balakrishna who can, Balasubramaniam who can answer all our questions.
Correct.
So, is there any more question in this? No.
This is Nitin Joshi.
Yeah.
I would like to ask how RCM can predict upcoming fire hazards.
Okay, so we'll be taking this, Nitin, in the next session. It's quite a bit of a theory that we have to talk. And
Okay.
basically, there is basically a graph, and you can put in various alarm levels before that. And by
Okay.
using the logic, these meters, not only they are smart, but they also have a small PLC in it. So you can
Okay.
write actually a logic, you know, that if the RCM reaches this level, then I need to shut off a particular area or this, you know. And
Okay.
RCM is so complex that, you know, any junction box in a remote area of your factory starts sparking, or there is a loose connection, and residual current takes place. And what
Okay.
usually the electrical guys do, they just bypass it, or something they do. They don't
Okay.
take cognizance of it's like ELCB. ELCB say shut down ho jata hai, they bypass the ELCB. Now,
Correct.
RCM allows you to take a measurement from 0 to 100, and you can say that when it reaches 20, I need you to do this. When it reaches 30, I need you to do this. Till the RCM level comes down, you have to, sort of literally, come down from the PCC level to your shop level to your machine level till you locate where the residual current is happening.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's where you have to go to the junction box, open it, you'll find, either a loose connection or there's a small video we have. If you want, I can share one video to understand what is RCM. If you want, I
Yeah,
can share
please.
just now. So
I have put my number, so if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can share.
I will share it with you later. I will not take the audience
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. And must be in your contact also. So
नितीन बघ जिथे तुम्हाला फायर दिसलं की हे फॅक्टरी जळाली किंवा इथे फायर लागलं आणि एक मॉल मध्ये आग लागली 100% इट्स अ आरसीएम प्रॉब्लेम
oh, okay.
म्हणतो ना शॉर्ट
Okay.
सर्किट झाला देर इज नो शॉर्ट सर्किट इट इज अन आरसीएम
Okay.
त्याला समजण्यासाठी इफ यू वॉन्ट आय गेट वन एक्सपर्ट फ्रॉम जेनेट्झा अँड
Okay.
these meters are allowing you to do a PLC logic so that you can take cognizance and actually shut off things till you get the RCM in control.
Okay. Okay.
Look,
And with this, is it possible, like if there is a big mall and there are smaller units in the mall, so by putting this RCM centrally, can you really find out where exactly
you
the problem?
have to put the RCM meters, the smaller meters, the cheaper meters at some strategic places in the mall. Like
Okay.
for example, food court, I would put a RCM there.
Okay.
Okay, I would put somewhere where there is a electrical, your server room or something like that. जिथे तुम्ही
Right.
खूप ज्यादा वायर लेके आते हैं और उसको बराबर से मेंटेन नहीं करते उधर रेसिडुअल करंट होने वाला है.
So at least you can monitor the branches, and
Yes.
if there are 10 shops in
Yes, yes.
that food mall,
हाँ.
then you know at least somewhere in these 10 shops there is an issue.
Then
Right. So
RCM
you can isolate the problem.
it is like this black fungus, mucormycosis जो है ना, वो RCM बढ़ते रहता है. Till you stop it, it will not reduce. It will only become
Okay.
worse over time.
Right.
Till
Right.
a major fire and a noise will come and some whoosh करके sound आ जाएगा, and then everybody
Right.
will run. By the time it's
Right.
too late.
Right.
Let me add up to this point. This is Hari here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The residual current is the current which flows from face to the ground and due to insulation failures. So when the insulation failures, most of the insulation failures generally do not happen immediately. It happens deteriorate over a period of time. And
Okay.
because of the deterioration of the insulation, the residual current also will go from slowly from 0 onwards to high, and then it can create a potential fire. So this is how the whole combination is. Like in our home, if you are using a heater, what happens is there is a residual current breaker. It trips when there is a current of say around 80 milliamperes is flowing through it. The same
Okay.
concept, we are monitoring the residual current. Thereby, we would be in a position to identify the failures before it actually fails. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Hari. By the way, Hari is the boss of Janitza. He normally sits in Dubai and he is presently touring Pune, but he is the guy who has the most experience in.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
if Shravani doesn't know, then Krishna helps. Krishna doesn't know, I help. If I don't know, I ask Hari.
Fantastic. Fantastic. But I'm sure, Farooq, you know everything
No,
because
no,
you are so experienced.
नहीं नहीं मेरे को इतना मालूम है कि इलेक्ट्रिकल पावर को लोग बहुत इग्नोर करते हैं और क्वालिटी को
That is
बहुत ही
true.
इग्नोर करते हैं चलता है चलने दो कुछ तो भी शॉर्ट सर्किट करके आई थिंक टुडे वी हैव राकेश रेलन इन द दिस you know I worked with him in 1983 when he was in escorts and
Okay.
इतना mess रहता था पावर का तभी and it got worse. But now the quality of power from the utility is very good quality. The installations are very good, less breakdowns. We have surplus power. And now government is going to come very heavily on industries who don't use their power properly.
Okay. Okay.
And who do not use power factor capacitors properly, who do not use good quality motors, who do not use proper transformers. They don't maintain the transformer contacts properly, especially when there are changeover tappings. And ये सब से क्या होता है कि ultimately they are paying penalty and their machines are under problem. Now
Right.
there is one gentleman from Garware Walrops who's in our session today. They are using large number of plastic extrusion machines, and suddenly out of the blue, some machine just shuts off, and the huge amount of plastic which is in a molten form in the machine
Means all
gets
wasted.
damaged. Now, how to know कि वो machine fail हुआ? Now with Janitza's UMG and the gridways, you can actually go back in history and find out कि on Friday 2:30 when the machine closed down, उसके आधा घंटा पहले और आधा घंटा बाद actually क्या हुआ? Was there a surge? Was there a transient? Was there a voltage imbalance? Was there something happened? Okay, and because of that the machine closed down. Now, if you do a root cause analysis, did this surge happen because the utility did something wrong, or because some other machine in your other shop switched off or switched on and created that surge, because of which your plastic extrusion machine got damaged? Now you can keep on putting UPSs and things like that on your machine, but there is something what engineering has taught us to go to the root cause. कि तुम्हारे मशीन में रूट कॉज क्या है, स्पेशली प्रॉब्लम्स जो महीने में एक बार होते, ये महीने में 2 बार होते.
Right. Right.
Then that becomes a headache to the production manager, becomes a headache to the maintenance manager. तो हम क्या बोल रहे हैं? You put a UMG meter on that machine, monitor, and the statistical record of the power and the noise and all the disturbances are recorded, and then you can analyze कि ये हुआ तब दूसरे शॉप में somebody else did something, and because of which this happened. So now हुआ अगर हुआ तो यहाँ मेरा surge आने वाला, and my machine is going to go under breakdown. So you got a root cause analysis. Once you have a root cause, your quality of production, your quality of utilization goes up. And this is something that we have been doing all our lives. And energy is one area where we are adding this. See, Nitin, people are using very expensive CNC machines. Huge, expensive. 3-4 koti ke machines lete. I have called them and talked to them. What are you doing to take care of your machine? They say we are putting a stabilizer. Stabilizer काय करणार? Voltage stabilize करणार. Okay, because he is using a motorized stabilizer, so there is going to be some sort of inductor there, so there is going to be some sort of a filter there. Well, stabilizer is a very small solution. You must use either a UPS or see to it that your grid is giving. So right from the PCC to the shop to the machine, everywhere the power quality has to be good. And this is the responsibility of the electrical maintenance manager, the electrical director of engineering. He is supposed to see that he uses the power properly and he doesn't allow anybody to damage the power. कोई तो भी equipment आ गया, single phase पे लगा दिया and वो drrrr चालू कर दिया, grrrr noise चालू हो गया. and an expensive machine, 3 koti ki machine, is suffering because of that. So this is the result. Okay, so I hope everybody has got the answers, and so there's some things on the chat which has come. Case study, Shrikant Kashit. Okay, Shrikant, I can give you many solutions. So Mohit Chandra has written, so these meters are going to do energy audit automatically. Yes, 100%. This is exactly what we are talking. It will be on a 24/7, 365 that the meters will be doing the power audit. And you can write your own program. You can do your own logic. Not only audit, you can also raise alarms. You can take preventive automatic decisions by using PLCs, by variable frequency drives, by all the electronics that is available to you inside the meter and by PLCs, which we also make. And you can actually see that your energy utilization is safe. So Suhas Kalvankar has put that nice product literature analysis software actions through PLC with SCADA seems to be very special. Yeah, this is exactly what we are looking at. Using PLC and SCADA and energy meters to provide a very good quality energy management solution to our customers. Okay.
Right.
So I think this is all that we have today, and we will try to. Hari, would you like to say something to the people, audience?
No, it is excellent presentation. I will not take much time, but this is the start of it, and I think your series, what you have given as an overview, would give more information to the participants. So they will all look for the further more information, which will be more detailed as we go through. Thank you very much. That's all.
So thank you very much, and with your permission and everybody's permission, I will like to close the session. And those people who have given their email ID and phone number, we will send you the recording and the PPT. Thank you very much.
Thank you.